The top stories at this hour. Reports say the skeleton of the missing AirAsia plane has been detected on the floor of the Java Sea. More bodies are being recovered as search efforts continue. A company in the U.S. says North Korea was not behind the recent cyber attack on Sony Pictures, but the FBI is sticking to its original claim that Pyongyang was indeed the culprit. President Park Geun-hye says she will put a lot of emphasis on reunifying the two Koreas next year. Stay with us for these and more coming right up. Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in on the last day of 2014. Live from Seoul, I'm Hyundai.
And I'm Daniel Che. Welcome to Early Edition at 6. We begin this hour with the latest on the missing AirAsia flight. Officials now are trying to pull up more bodies as the plane has been spotted at the bottom of the Java Sea using sonar technology.
That's right. For the latest, let's connect to Arirang News Connie Lee standing by for us. So Connie, what can you tell us?
Hey guys, well, 7 bodies have been recovered so far from the Java Sea, including one of a crew member who was found in AirAsia's trademark red flight attendant uniform. Officials have now prepared for the arrival of the bodies and for the formal ID process. Initially, the bodies will be taken to a military base in a town nearest to where the debris and victims have been spotted. A makeshift morgue has been set up there. Then the bodies will be brought to a hospital in Surabaya, and more than 100 ambulances are on standby waiting to transport the victims. Authorities have been gathering DNA samples and photographs from relatives to speed up the identification process for the victims. Pyongyang and Daniel?
Well, Connie, now that the plane has been detected, the search efforts have been turned into recovery efforts, as hopes for, unfortunately, any survivors are rather dim. Are there any more clues as to how the plane crashed into the sea?
Unfortunately, Daniel, officials do not know what happened yet and are trying to figure out why the plane lost contact. But it is believed that the plane slowed down before it hit the sea. So along with the bodies of 162 people on board, authorities are looking for the black boxes to help determine what went wrong on the flight, which went missing Sunday morning local time. Unfortunately, as the day has turned into night now, search crews are not only battling low visibility, but also stormy weather and high tides. A public memorial is also planned to be held in Surabaya this evening, local time, to pray for the victims and their families. Back to you guys.
And our hopes and prayers also go out to the families and friends, of course, of the victims. And we will continue to bring you the details as they become available. In the meantime, thank you, Connie, for that update. Now, in some of the other stories we are following at this hour, the strongest suspect in the recent hacking attack on Sony Pictures was North Korea from the beginning.
But even back then, there were people who did not agree with that theory. Now, a company in the U.S. says it has concrete information to prove Pyongyang's innocence.
But the FBI is still sticking to its original claim. For this story, here's Arirang News Kim Hyun-bin.
U.S. cyber experts say they have concrete evidence that a former employee of Sony Pictures was behind the recent hacking attack on the company, not North Korea. Cyber intelligence firm North Corporation said Monday that it had narrowed its search to 6 suspects, one of whom is a former Sony employee who had the technical capabilities to carry out such an attack. North says it had data on the malware used in the attack, and that it pointed to information that only Sony Insider would have. The firm's findings run counter to what the FBI has said about the case. They have pinned the attack on Pyongyang and are sticking to their guns. The FBI, in a statement on Tuesday, said there was no credible information to suggest anyone other than North Korea was involved. From the outset, suspicion in the attack was directed at the North. The virus used for the attack was coded in a Korean language environment similar to the ones that struck South Korean banks in 2013. But experts say that is not enough to link the attack on Sony to North Korea, as the malware is available on the black market. Cybersecurity experts say there's a slight chance the FBI's conclusion might be correct, since they may have access to intelligence that points directly to North Korea, intelligence the FBI has chosen not to disclose. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
North Korea, in the meantime, has blamed South Korea for the current inter-Korean tensions and demanded a change in Seoul's North Korea policy. That's without giving an answer to the South's proposal for talks. The Rodong Sinmun newspaper says South Korea has pushed inter-Korean ties to a state of disintegration and called for Seoul to cease its hostilities. The paper also criticized President Park Geun-hye's Unification Preparation Committee for pushing the vision of reunification. This comes just 2 days after South Korea proposed talks with the North sometime in January. It started out as somewhat of a joking matter, but then it evolved into a serious criminal case. The heiress of Korean Air with the nut rage is now behind bars for violating several aviation laws. Son Jung-in reports.
Cho Hyun-ah, the former vice president of Korean Air, was taken into custody late Tuesday night on charges of violating aviation safety laws and abusing flight attendants in the incident that is now most commonly referred to as nut rage.
같이 탔던 승객분들이나 사무장분들 하시고 싶은 말씀 있으십니까?
Earlier this month, Cho ordered a plane she was traveling on to return to the gate in New York after she was served macadamia nuts in a bag, not on a plate, as is the service protocol for first-class passengers. Cho stands accused of forcing the chief steward of that flight off the plane and physically assaulting him. Korean Air is also under fire over allegations that it tried to cover up the case. On top of former VP Cho, a current executive of Korean Air was also detained on charges that he had destroyed evidence and forced subordinates to give false testimonies to investigators.
Yes, I partially acknowledged.
일부 인정하신 부분이 어떤 부분들이시죠?
I acknowledged the mistakes I've made.
Korea's Transport Ministry is also in the hot seat for the way it has handled its side of the investigation. Last week, a ministry official was arrested for leaking details of the probe into Korean Air. The ministry has since vowed to punish 8 of its officials for misconduct during the investigation. Korean Air faces a possible 30-day flight ban, most likely on its New York to Seoul route, or fines of up to $2 million. Son Jung-in, Arirang News.
Let's move on to other stories now. Korea's finance minister says there's no need to be too pessimistic about the state of the economy. In a ministerial meeting on Wednesday, Choi Kyung-won said Korea is showing signs of recovery with retail sales and facilities investments rebounding in November. In a separate New Year's message released by the ministry, Choi said the Korean economy stands to benefit from improvements in the global economy and dropping oil prices, but added that the interest rate hike in the U.S. and weak Japanese yen remains as downside risks. The government expects 3.4% growth for this year and 3.8% next. Korea's largest automaker, Hyundai Motor, and its sister company, Kia Motors, reportedly plan to sell 8.2 million cars in 2015. The automakers feel that's an attainable goal since they are expected to sell a record high 8 million units globally this year. Analysts say, however, next year's forecast is somewhat conservative considering that the average rate of growth in sales has been around 10% over the past 4 years. Unfavorable currency conditions, namely the strengthening of the Korean won against the Japanese yen and the slow global recovery, were pointed out as prominent risks. The world's most valuable technology startup now resides in China. Get used to saying Xiaomi. The Chinese smartphone maker has raised a whopping $1.1 billion from investors, putting its total valuation at $45 billion. Our Lee Ji-yoon tells us more.
Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi is on a roll. It has even edged out the taxi booking app Uber for the honor of being the world's most valuable startup. The company announced that it has raised over $1 billion in its latest round of fundraising, pushing Xiaomi's value to $45 billion. Founded just 4 years ago, the company's remarkable tale of growth has grabbed many by surprise. Earlier this year, it was named the world's 3rd largest smartphone maker by shipment volume, overtaking both Samsung and Apple in China. China has over 500 million smartphone users in the country. So what led to the success? The company provides high-quality phones at cheaper prices by conducting sales through the internet and luring in young consumers with clever marketing strategies. With its skyrocketing growth, it's now eyeing the global market. This year, Xiaomi entered India, Malaysia, Singapore, Mexico, and Brazil. However, critics have accused Xiaomi of copying Apple in its smartphone designs and marketing campaigns for new products. In fact, the Swedish telecom giant Ericsson sued Xiaomi this month for allegedly infringing on its patents. Other challenges abound for the fast-growing startup, with one of them being the rise of rival companies in China that are trying to undercut Xiaomi by using similar tactics. Lee Jun, Arirang News.
Business partners face a one-day entry ban. 77.
Digging deeper, getting to the bottom of stories that impact your life. Talking with you on air and online. Connecting you with experts on the world's most pressing issues. News and current affairs at its best. With Na Hyung-kyung and Daniel Che.
Arirang News.
Arirang News.
Arirang News.
On Early Edition at 6.
Every city is famous for its own New Year celebration. If New York City has a ball drop ceremony in Times Square, Seoul has the Posinggak Pavilion ringing the bell ceremony.
And that's why on every New Year's Eve, many Koreans choose to be in downtown Seoul to see that giant bell. And that's exactly where our Kwon So-ah is standing by for us tonight.
Let's connect to her right now. So-ah, I guess many Koreans are there right now. Less than 6 hours left until 2014 is over. What's the atmosphere there like right now? Do you need an oxygen mask?
Hi guys. Well, it has become darker here, signaling the end of the day and of course the end of 2014. And right here behind me you can see the Posinggak Pavilion, and rehearsals are going on here because we have a full program lined up with musical performances, dances, and a light show, and also an event where artificial clouds will be sent up in the sky. Now they will be shaped in, for example, the sheep, because next year is the year of the sheep according to the Chinese year.
Artificial clouds, that should be interesting, right? So are there a lot of people already to see the ceremony?
Well, people are gradually trickling in, but I think most of them are still having dinner in this area maybe. And but we do expect around 100,000 people to be gathered here. So it really is going to be a big celebration. And of course, the highlight is going to be the ringing of the Posinggak bell, of course. And now for our international viewers, here's some information on that. The Posinggak Pavilion was built in the 14th century, and the Posinggak bell used to be struck to announce that the gates around Seoul were being opened and closed. But these days the bell is rung just once a year, and that's what makes the New Year's event so unique. It will be rung a total of 33 times, a number that has special meaning in Buddhism. I'll give you more details of who those people are in our later broadcast. Now, for those who plan to come out to the venue, it's a good idea to leave your cars behind, as traffic will be restricted in the area. Public transportation will be extended today, with subways running until 2 a.m. But they won't stop at Songgak Station, the closest one to Posinggak, so please have that in mind. And I'll be back with later on, so until then, back to you guys.
Well, thank you so much for that, So, and good luck to you making it back home. It's going to be a tough journey back home after you finish your coverage for the ringing of the bell ceremony.
That's right. Well, President Park Geun-hye reached out to the Korean people on YouTube and Facebook on Wednesday for her New Year's message.
All right, she spent most of it talking about two things: the economy and the two Koreas. Our Kim Young-gil reports.
President Park Geun-hye started off her New Year's address wishing all Koreans a healthy and happy 2015 in the year of the sheep. She said her top priority over the coming year was reinvigorating the economy.
창의와 혁신에 기반을 둔 경제로 체질을 바꿔가면서 국민소득 4만 불 시대를 여는 기반을 다져가겠습니다.
President Park also addressed national security matters, promising to open an era of unification for the two Koreas.
단절과 갈등의 분단 70년을 마감하고 신뢰와 변화로 북한을 이끌어내서 실질적이고 구체적인 통일 기반을 구축하고 통일의 길을 열어갈 것입니다.
She also promised to root out irregularities in society to make Korea a safer place to live. President Park said due to the spirit of the Korean people, she was confident that Korea will be able to overcome any difficulty or challenge in the new year. 김영길, Arirang News.
Korea made a big stride in 2014 in its campaign to expand free trade deals, wrapping up negotiations with 4 countries this year.
Well, the most significant this year was the one with China, the world's second largest economy and Korea's largest export market. Our Song Ji-sun gives us a rundown.
With the latest edition of a Korea-Vietnam FTA agreed earlier this month, Korea has concluded negotiations with 4 countries this year, starting with Canada in March and followed by China and New Zealand in November. Korea now has 15 FTAs with a total of 52 nations that account for 73% of the world's GDP. And the one agreed with China this year, Korea's biggest trading partner, this is expected to help Korea increase its per capita income to $30,000 within the next 3 years from the current $20,000. Korea's exports to China currently account for a quarter of its total outbound shipments, and a government think tank expects the FTA to expand Korea's GDP by up to 3% over the next decade. The 2 countries have yet to formally sign the deal. The Seoul officials hope to tie up all remaining processes soon, so the FTA can go into effect within a year. With China vying to remove tariffs on nearly 2/3 of Korea's manufactured goods within 10 years of implementing a free trade deal, Korean industries are busy drawing up new marketing plans for the world's biggest consumer market. Korean makers of machineries, steel, electronics, and cosmetics products are expected to benefit most from the tariff reduction, while textile, rubber, and plastic will have to cope with the influx of cheap Chinese products. Major agricultural products sensitive for Korean farmers were excluded from the deal. Seoul's goal now is to ink a trilateral deal with China and Japan, now entering a 3rd year of negotiations, looking for terms similar to those in the Korea-China FTA. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
And now on to the information technology sector.
Some of the new ideas materialized by mobile messaging companies this year are actually changing the way people communicate and make financial transactions.
Our Kim Ji-yeon looks into what's coming our way in the new year.
2015 is forecast to be a golden year for mobile messengers as they expand into other sectors such as finance. Korea's top mobile messenger and web portal, Daum Kakao, introduced the bank wallet Kakao in 2014, allowing its 37 million users to transfer up to nearly $100 a day to other Kakao users. The service is changing the way people send gifts of condolence or celebration to family and friends. And local commercial banks have seized on the opportunity as well. Their participation enables users to transfer the money they receive straight into their personal banking account the following day. Daum Kakao is also expanding into a credit card payment service that helps users purchase goods online. All of this is possible in part because of Korea's obsession for fast connectivity. The country's largest telecommunications operators are commercializing an ultra-high-speed tri-band LTE service. It will enable users to download a movie in less than 30 seconds. This is 4 times faster than 4G LTE service. However, it's currently only available in certain parts of the country where at least 3 audio frequencies are available. The telecom operators hope to expand availability throughout the coming months. The same obsession for growth is expected to help local companies become the first to commercialize the 5th-generation service, which is 1,000 times faster than 4G LTE. SK Telecom is aiming to provide the 5G service at the upcoming 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics. Samsung Electronics has set a goal of commercializing the service by the year 2020. The company believes the move will give them a competitive advantage in the era of the Internet of Things, in which everything we touch and interact with is connected to the World Wide Web. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Well, on the cultural front, the year 2014 held many arts and cultural events, some old and some new.
Some a little bit of both. Our Im Yoon-hee was at most of the sites, bringing us back to details. Here's a wrap-up of this year's events.
8,765 hours of singing, 365 days of dancing, 12 months of things we've seen, and some things we've never seen before. 1 year of life, a year colored by the arts and culture of our world. You learn from your past, but also from the past of others. This year saw the production of performances based on major historical events. The musical hero immortalized Korea's historical nationalist An Jung-geun and sang his dramatic story of patriotism and self-sacrifice, all for the sake of peace.
An wanted to create peace between Japan, China, and Korea. For this musical, I wanted to depict that deep meaning.
And through the arts and culture, these historical moments and figures live on, the memories of An Jung-geun, a true hero, to never be forgotten. But there's just so much to learn from history, and it's not always from textbooks. A precious collection of maps were gathered for an exhibition, the first of its kind. Maps that all point to an East Sea, or Sea of Korea. Maps that serve as a source of truth for both Korea and the world's history. But the arts also go beyond the performance. It's weaved into every day of our lives, jumping over any and all barriers. Architecture is just one of those aspects where art has blurred the lines. The group Munjibang show that they have both the talent and creativity to build a bridge between reality and fantasy with their piece, Shinseon Play. And fashion is of course another source of art that we encounter on a daily basis. We're not always dressed for the catwalk, but for some, the body is a blank canvas. Yet some artists have even evolved past any canvas at all. The once still masterpiece works of Vincent van Gogh stepped onto new terrain when they burst to life through technology and tens of projectors in what is being dubbed new media art. The arts and culture of our lives. It's a flurry of people, things, and ideas. A unique collaboration between two very different countries, two entirely different cultures collided in one of the most beautiful performances we saw this year, a whirlwind that left behind the hybrid performance called Vortex.
In many levels we have this vortex, ancient, contemporary kind of handshake, which is also for me a vortex. Finland and Korea meeting its vortex.
The reputable Finnish choreographer is well versed in Western-style dance, but also follows an organic movement inspired by nature, low to the ground, very similar to Korean traditional-style dance. And to round out the year of successful collaborations, true masters from various fields of photography, dance, and even fashion came together for the Skywalk project, where all that once was is no longer applicable, and it's okay to leave a few questions unanswered.
It's not about answering the previous artists' questions or following in their footsteps. The future of art is about asking questions about their questions and experimenting so that there's always the unknown.
2014 held many ups and downs, many stories of success with some bumps along the way. But it's each one of these performances that allow for another. Artworks and creations that pave a path for progress into the future. Im Yoon-hee, Arirang News.
As if to help put extra exclamation marks at the last day of 2014, the weather seems to be getting colder and colder as we draw closer to midnight.
That's right. For more, let's go over to Kim Bo-kyung at the Weather Center. Bo-kyung.
Happy New Year's Eve, guys. We got off to a snowy start to the morning here in Seoul. Now, although conditions have cleared up here in the capital, it is still snowing in some regions and brisk cold winds have moved in, especially on the west coast and down in Jeju, where a strong wind watch has been issued. It looks like another round of snowfall is expected to begin later tonight. Up to 15 centimeters may fall in parts of both Jeollado provinces. Keep in mind that it may be difficult to check out the first sunrise of 2015 on the west coast due to snowy conditions, but we will be able to check out the first sun here in Seoul at 7:46 a.m., 7:46 a.m. that is, and for Busan it'll be at 7:31 a.m. If you do decide to head outdoors, make sure to bundle up as wind chills will cool down the mercury on Thursday. On to tomorrow's readings. Seoul drops to -10 in the morning before reaching -4 in the afternoon. Daegu hits 1, Busan hits 2. On to other regions. Daejeon and Jeju reach -3 and 3 respectively. Tokyo hits 1, Mount Kumgang dips to -11. Those are the updates I have for you now. Wish you early New Year's, and I'll be back with more after 8.
Sounds like Bo-kyung is feeling a little sentimental, but New Year's Eve and the end of 2014 right around the corner. I can't believe another year just passed by so quickly. I'm still getting used to writing 2014.
2014, yes. And just when you thought you were getting used to it, now you have to write 2015. Right. We're getting mixed up with numbers here. But the year gave us some more somber news than joyous events, starting with the Seoul ferry disaster in Korea. I'm hoping that the year 2015 will be filled with some brighter news.
Right. It's not how you start, but how you finish. The end of the year is right around the corner. Hope everyone wraps things up nicely no matter where you are in the world. This is Daniel Che signing off for the last time in 2014.
And I'm Na Hyun-kyung. Happy New Year, everyone, and see you in 2015.